Okay, and as we're still living in a virtual world, the next presentation from Fury Gold Mines will be a pre-recorded session. With that in mind, Tim Clark will be doing the presentation online. The Fury Gold team is here, so they are available for questions, and they are taking one-on-one meetings. Roll the tape, gentlemen.
Morning, my name is Tim Clark. I'm the CEO of Fury Gold Mines. Thank you for your attention today. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person, but I will be at the conference the next couple of days. To jump right in, we have disclaimers, but essentially, just to give you an outline, Fury Gold Mines is a Canadian-focused, advanced high-grade gold exploration company. We have assets throughout Canada, predominantly focusing on our drilling program in Quebec at the moment. We've got a strong balance sheet with $15 million in the treasury. We also have 76.5 million shares in marketable securities at Dolly Varden Silver. It's about a third of the company. And I think we've got a fabulous management team with a good track record of success. And in terms of our competitive valuation, we are trading at less than half our peer group right now on $1 per ounce. And I would also mention that our valuation in terms of enterprise value is trading under $40 million. Our market cap's 105, but when you back out our treasury and our securities, it's a pretty great valuation to be focused on. In terms of the management team, my background is over 20 years in the capital markets. Most recently, I spent 7 years with Bank of Montreal working with mining companies. Lindsay Sherry, our CFO, comes from Goldcorp. Michael Hendrickson from Newmont. Brian Atkinson has worked in 25 countries around the world. Our board of directors is deep. It's got good breadth in terms of skill set, and very happy and feel that a lot of support that comes from them is important. Jumping right into our projects itself, Eclair, which we purchased from Eastmain, is in Quebec in the St. James Bay region. It's our focus right now. Drilling started 3 to 4 weeks ago. Eleanor South joint venture, just north of there, about 50 to 60 kilometers, is in joint with Newmont as well as Azimut. It's just south of their Eleanor mine at Newmont. Committee Bay, big project up in Nunavut. We've tabled for the year to focus on our exploration in Quebec, but a great property for us. And then also our Homestake Ridge asset that is in British Columbia. We actually sold the Dolly Varden Silver last winter, and we remain active on the board there. So obviously a bunch of different levers for us moving forward. Just to talk about the Homestake Ridge sale, in my view, it was a real transformation for the company. It gave us $5 million in cash, 76.5 million shares of Dolly Varden Silver, or a third of the company. We kept 2 boards as a result. Hecla owns 10%, and they have 1 board seat out of the 6. I'm very convinced that this is going to be something that Hecla will want down the road. As you can see in the graph, Homestake Ridge and Dolly Varden combined is surrounded by the Hecla property. It's a natural alignment for them. In my view, it's not a question of if, it's just when Hecla feels confident that the exploration upside is there for them. Their drilling program is advancing this summer. We're very happy to be a participant there. On the ESG side, obviously coming from the capital markets, I know all about the importance of it and what companies are doing. We remain very focused on that in terms of our activities with certifications, as well as actively pushing forward with environmental, social, and governance. We have a board member that's not only an adjunct law professor, but also a First Nation Council member. We work with Digby as well as EcoLogo, and we've actually increased our allocation year to date in terms of the money we're spending there in ESG. The focus, though, here is Eclair. It's previously owned by Eastmain. We acquired it a few years ago, and we've been looking at the drilling program, obviously advancing that to what we think should be closer to 2 million ounces. Currently, it's about 1.3. It's on a 30-kilometer area in the center of the photograph here, just south of Newmont. It's the Eleanor mine, and where you can also see the Eleanor South joint venture. The takeaway, though, from this slide here is that it's a big part of Quebec that's been relatively unexplored. 15 years ago, you would have had to fly a helicopter into our property. Now, because of the St. James Bay Dam development, there's lots of infrastructure, power, roads, and you can back a truck right up to our site. This is, I think, a big key factor for the larger producing companies that are looking to acquire exploration. Economically, it makes a lot more sense to them than other areas of the world. On Eclair itself, we have 13 high priority targets. The historic drilling is over in Eclair, which has been about 90% of it. There's some historic drilling in Percival. We've already started drilling in Eclair, and we will be drilling in Percival in the next week or two. There's just a lot of room to grow here. It's on the Canard Deformation Zone. We're 55,000 hectares. We've also continued to work and do IP geophysical surveys up in Percival on the back of biochemical anomalies. And we're excited at the prospects. The message here is there's a lot of room to explore. And the deposit itself, you can see there's been a lot of historic drilling. Right now, we're focused on the extension. We just put 4 drill holes in there. We should be getting results shortly. Also, the next target is on the hinge on the western side. We've put 2 drill holes in already out of the 4, and then we'll be moving on to the north limb and then waiting for assay results to come back and reconfigure and continue drilling. We're also looking at drill holes out in Panel B and Snake Lake Deep later this summer. The takeaway from this slide here is the fact that there's a lot of white here, a lot of room to explore. We've done a number of step outs in the last year and a half, and we're finding gold, and we haven't hit any sort of restrictions. So exciting times for us in the drill prospect. Just to look in a little bit deeper on that eastern exploration that we just did, there's historic 204,000 ounces at 11.8 grams in the panel in the big pink and purple. We're looking at a little bit shallower over to the east. We're very confident we're going to come back and with some good results, so we should be hearing from those soon. But just gives you a little bit of idea here. There's been historical drilling, so we don't have to re-drill the whole property. We're sort of filling in where we see potential upside. On Percival itself, historically speaking, there's 100,000 ounces. They stopped drilling because they were looking laterally, trying to create an open pit. When we came back, we did a 3D magnetics, and not only did we find that this doesn't go laterally, but it's actually down plunge extension, and there's an untested parallel fold hinge just 500 meters to the east. We've got potential drill holes already on the slide here in blue. We're going to start drilling, as I mentioned, in the next 2 weeks. Very exciting, and I think a lot more sort of upside and an example of what we can do in the rest of the property. On the Eleanor South joint venture, it's 57 kilometers north of our Eclair mine. As you can see, Newmont's Eleanor mine is up in the northwest. We also have the Chichu deposit, which is owned by Sirios, that straddles our border on the east. But more interesting to us is this 5.5 kilometer target right in the middle of the property. We had historic data that we looked through, and we're very excited to start drilling this. The target is to begin drilling in the back half of the year. And most of the historic drilling had been up at the Chichu deposit, where there's 2 million ounces at 0.65 grams. The anomaly looks very similar, but bigger. And we won't know until we actually go in there, but this is an asset that we don't get credit for in any of the analyst models. And in my view, our stock, it was not talked about much when I first came on in September as the CEO, but I think there's value here. And as my job is help recognize and monetize value throughout the company. I don't know if this is worth, $20 or $100 million, but I know that we and Newmont are very excited with Asmit to start drilling this. And I think that going forward, we're going to have some good results in my view. Just to jump up to Committee Bay, there's the Three Bluffs deposit. It's 1.3 million ounces historical drilling. We came back with a drill hole last year that was pretty exciting. It was 13.93 grams over 10 meters, 18.67 over 3 meters, and 23 grams over a meter. The interesting part of it is that historically we've been looking at iron formations. This came off of a shear zone, which we know can go for miles up there. We'd like to go back, but we tabled this project for the year to double down and focus our efforts on Quebec. We'd like to go back with 10 to 15 million versus 3 to 5 million. It's a much bigger area to explore. There's 300 kilometers worth of land that we've been looking at. I think this is something that, as we get into a bull market, could be extremely valuable to Fury and represents a ton of upside for us. Obviously, it's where the big boys play. It's unusual to see a junior exploration company with this much land, and we're excited to pursue that down the road. Just on the share structure and analyst coverage, we're covered by Beacon, H.C. Wainwright, and Laurentian. The stock obviously hasn't done much in the last 9 months, but in my view, we've really turned the company around since I took over in September. We historically were more of a hybrid focused with development on our mind. We're getting back to what we're great at, which is exploration. And we've enabled a couple of things along the way in terms of raising capital last fall, selling Dolly Varden. We also did $11 million capital raise in a private this spring with 2 marquee investors. One's a senior producer in Canada, and the other one is a top-tier institutional fund in the United States. With partnerships like this and taking a position and qualifying what I think is a lot of upside for our company, I think it's worth a look. Right now, we're trading near our 52-week low. I think it's an exciting time to get in with a backdrop of drilling results coming out the next week or two. We will be having results coming out through the end of the year. We've got 2 drills turning this summer. We'll continue one into the fall. This represents, again, a cheap valuation in junior exploration side. But again, what sort of sets us apart is, yes, we have $15 million in our treasury, but we've got $56 million of stock that we own of Dolly Varden. Our goal is not to go out there and cannibalize that position, but it does give us a lot more sort of backing in terms of when and pick to choose and how to develop our capital program. It's a huge leverage among a number of things that we can go after, not only in the joint venture, but a Eclair project and Percival project, but also being able to look at Nunavut again, where we can have a tremendous amount of upside. So a unique company in the junior exploration space that I think is exciting and worth a visit. Thank you very much, and good luck with the rest of your conference.